Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jai Shri Shri Radha Madhava Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Govardhana Hari Ki Jai Shri Shri Gauranitai Ki Jai Shri Krishna Balaram Giraj Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam 3:24-32, and we're also going to discuss something about Krishna's opulences for leading up to Janmashtami Mahotsava, which is this Saturday. Tam suribis tattva bubutsayadha Sadha Vibhavardhana Padapitam Aishvarya Vairagya Yashova Bodha Virya Shriya Purtamaham Prapadye Tvam Sudibis Tattva Bubhutsayadha Sada Bhivadharhana Padapitham Aishwarya Vairagya Yashova Bodha Virya Shriya Purtamaham Prapadye. Ladies? Tvam suribis tattva bubutsayadha Sada bivadharhana padapitam Aishwarya vairagya yashova bodha Virya Shriya Purtamaham Prapadye. Tvam, unto you, Suribhi, by the great sages, Tattva, the absolute truth, Bubhutsaya, with a desire to understand, Adha, certainly, Sada, always, Abhivada, of worshipful respects, Arhana, which are worthy, Pada, of your feet, Pitam, to the seat, Aishwarya, opulence, Vairagya, renunciation, Yashaha, fame, Avabodha, knowledge, Virya, strength, Shriya, with beauty, Purtam, who are full, Aham, I, Prapadye, surrender. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear Lord, your lotus feet are the reservoir that always deserves to receive worshipful homage from all great sages eager to understand the absolute truth. You are full in opulence, renunciation, transcendental fame, knowledge, strength, and beauty, and therefore I surrender myself unto your lotus feet. Please repeat. My dear Lord, your lotus feet are the reservoir that always deserves to receive worshipful homage from all great sages, eager to understand the absolute truth. You are full in opulence, renunciation, transcendental fame, knowledge, strength, and beauty. And therefore I surrender myself unto your lotus feet. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Actually, those who are searching after the absolute truth must take shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and worship Him. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna advised Arjuna many times to surrender unto Him, especially at the end of the 9th chapter. Manmana bhava mad bhakta. If you want to be perfect, just always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your obeisances unto me. In this way you will understand me, the personality of Godhead, and ultimately you will come back to me, back to Godhead, back home. Why is it so? The Lord is always full in 6 opulence, as mentioned herein: wealth, renunciation, fame, knowledge, strength, and beauty. The word purta means in full. No one can claim that all wealth belongs to him, but Krishna can claim it, since he has full wealth. Similarly, he is full in knowledge, renunciation, strength, and beauty. He is full in everything, and no one can surpass him. Another one of Krishna's names is Asa Murdva, which means that no one is equal to or greater than him. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I thought it would be good to start, before we go into all of the qualities of Krishna, all of the opulences that he has, just to acknowledge the wealth, the unique contribution that the Vedic literature is giving us in comparison to the other knowledge of God that is given in this world. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that those who are expert in understanding the absolute truth, they understand it in three ways. They understand it in terms of Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So these are, Brahman is the spirit, spiritual nature. Just like we have the form of this table, the form of the floor and the cup and the building, but these are all temporary forms. But beyond that, there's a spiritual reality that's all-pervading everything. That is Brahman, divine spirit. Then we have Paramatma, which is God in the form of the controller, Upadrashthanamantacha, the controller, the permitter, the one that gives blessings, the one that controls everything in this world, punishes those that should be punished, rewards and blesses those who are good people, and so on and so forth. That personal aspect of God is Paramatma, which is in everyone's heart, the overseer and permitter. And then we have the final conception of God, which is Bhagavan, which is God in his world, so to speak. So whereas Brahman is all-pervading, it's formless, it's not really, doesn't have personal qualities, while Paramatma is to do with this world. It's God as the one that's controlling and giving results and supporting and all those sort of things, but in this world, that's Paramatma. Bhagavan is actually who is God, who is the Lord in his world, his and her world, Radha Krishna. Who is God in their world, right? Who is God? What does he do? Not just what he does for us. And just like sometimes you can notice that you have conversations with people and everything is just from their perspective. It's like, this is my perspective, this is what I do, this is what I do, this is what I do. And everybody knows, those relationships are not very progressive when it's just all about the person's themselves perspective. They're not really interested in what, you might say, oh, I did this, and they go, oh yeah, well I did this, and there's no, oh really, what was that like? There was like that. So in a way, everyone in the material world, we are like this to some degree. And in fact, if we analyze it, and we'll do that in a minute, most of the religious processes are like this to some degree as well. Because they're all about, what can God do for us? Who is God in our world? What can he do? And this is the level of the Paramatma. But the level of Bhagavan is, what does God do? Who is he? What does he do in his spare time? Is he just simply the order supplier for us? Or does he have his own world? And I thought it would be edifying and important for us to have a consideration of what this unique contribution of the Vedas and specifically the Vaishnava, specifically the Gaudiya Vaishnava, philosophy is giving us about the nature of God. Just quickly, you can see. Can everybody see that? We'll just quickly go through. This is not a class on comparative religion, but I just think it's interesting exercise. If we look at Judaism, we have Jahwe is a single, indivisible, incorporeal being. We have the idea of Brahman, divine spirit. We have the idea of Paramatma, the creator of all things. But there's no images or representations of God that are allowed. There's no personal form, like who is God? Not just what he does for us, not that he's the creator of our world, but who is he? Not there, not allowed, not there. In Christianity, we have the whole, Christianity is coming from Judaism, so it's very similar obviously, but the Holy Spirit is there, God the Father who provides and gives salvation is there, the Paramatma conception of God, but there's no idol or there's no representation of God that's allowed. No, you can't represent God himself in his world, who he is, what his identity is, not allowed. In Islam we have the Tawhid, the absolute oneness of God. We have the creator, sustainer and judge of all, the Paramatma feature. His 99 names include all the different aspects of Paramatma, how it relates to our world. The merciful, the one who's merciful on us, the one that's all-knowing, etc., etc. But no description is allowed. Allah is beyond human understanding. Not allowed. Not given, not allowed. Buddhism is not really even this idea of Supreme Spirit, because in Buddhism, obviously, the goal is nirvana, that the ultimate goal is to cease existence altogether. There's some hint of a control in the terms of the laws of karma, but not really in the conception of a deity, Paramatma. So there's not really either of those concepts really, although slightly, and definitely nothing about a supreme eternal person, because the eternality, the perfection of eternality is cessation of existence, becoming shunya, nothing. If we go to the Advaita Vedanta from the Vedic view, there's definitely the idea of the Brahman as being the ultimate reality, formless, indivisible. But the idea of Paramatma in this philosophy is simply Brahman without any covering of Maya. So we won't get into this, but there's an inherent contradiction here that if Brahman is indivisible, how can it divide into Paramatma and Jiva? So anyway, we won't go there. We're not going to discuss this in detail today. But suffice to say that the idea of a Paramatma that's a conscious control and permitter is not there. It's just simply Brahman without any covering of Maya, and covering of Maya is what creates the Jiva. And so there's definitely no acceptance of a spiritual form of God. A formless Brahman is considered supreme. So these are all the major spiritual and religious philosophies of the world, and none of them have a conception of Bhagavan, or who is God in his own world. If we come to Vaishnavism, we have the conception of Brahman as the all-pervading spiritual effulgence. We have the Paramatma, which is his feature, which deals with the world, supervising, providing and blessing. Krishna talks a lot about this in Bhagavad Gita, Upadrashtanumantascha. But we have also great detail about Bhagavan, his own supreme existence, his own spiritual abode. What are his qualities? What are his characteristics? And so on and so forth. So when we're talking about Krishna, we're talking about God. It's a very, very unique perspective that the Vedas, especially the Vaishnava conception of the Vedas, is giving, that is really not available anywhere else, right? We can see, though, all of these religions. Sometimes we see atheistic people say, oh, there's so many different gods and all religions argue and it's all different. But actually, the common points of religion are huge, much more bigger than the details of the rituals and the external cultures. There's differences. But the ultimate, that we have to give up selfish absorption in this world to love God, to love the Supreme, that is the same in all religions. So we can see all of these same aspects are there. It's the same science, just like mathematics at primary school, high school, and university is the same science. This is science of God that's been given in all these different religions. We can see they all match up on these lower levels. But only the Vaishnava gives the existence of God himself in his world, right? That's a very unique contribution. So it's not that there's like a competition between we say God is like that, and somebody else says God is like somebody else. There's no competition. There is no other information about the eternal identity and the eternal activities and qualities of God given to us. So what are the 6 opulences of Krishna given in the Vedas? Parashara Muni, great sage and father of Vyasadeva, who compiled all the Vedic literatures, gave the following definition of God: Aishvaryasya, Samagrasya, Viryasya, Yashasha, Shriya. You'll recognize some of these words in the verse today, right? Aishvarya, Vairagya, Vira, Shriya, exact same 6. Jnana Vairagya Chaivo, Sannam Iti Bhagagane. Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is thus defined by Parashara Muni as one who is full in 6 opulences, who has full strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. We don't hear that much about Parashara Muni, but I thought it was interesting just to note that Parashara Muni wrote the Vishnu Purana, where that verse is from. But he's also mentioned in the Bhagavatam as actually being one of the speakers of Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam 3:8, 7-9, is described how Lord Sankarshan spoke the purport of Srimad Bhagavatam to Sanat Kumara. Sanat Kumara spoke to Sankyayana Muni. And when Sankyayana Muni was reciting Bhagavatam, Parashara Muni and Brihaspati heard this. And then Parashara Muni spoke it to the speaker here in this section, who is Maitreya Muni, who's speaking to Vidura. So interesting that, as well as the Vishnu Purana, Parashara Muni is also described as one of the speakers of Bhagavatam, Bhagavat Purana. So what are these 6 opulences of Krishna? Strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. Isn't that a beautiful picture? So I thought it'd be nice to make a little bit interactive at this point and just talk about what are the some examples of these opulences. So put your thinking caps on and your Shastra remembrances. If you want to, you can also classify whether these are shown in Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan, but that's an optional, extra. You can still get 100%. Those tests you got, I think Gopal was telling me, he did some test and there were extra marks, so you end up getting like 108 or something, 105 or something out of 100. So there's like extra if you want to say, are these opulences displayed in the material world, or are these opulences in Krishna's own abode? So would anyone like to start? What is some examples of Krishna's strength? Yes, Chamari Maja. Yes, very good. Lifting Govardhana, yeah, please, yeah. If you can say it on that's it.
Lifting Govardhana Hill.
Lifting Govardhana Hill, that's his strength, right? And he had to get 2 hands there and really, really struggle. No. How did he lift Govardhana Hill? Little finger of his left hand, right? Amazing. Anything else? Well, let's just say any of these qualities. Doesn't have to be, we don't have to go strength, just any of those 6. What's some examples that you know of that you can say? Aiden? Yeah. Yeah. Renunciation? Yeah. Yeah. You could say that. Yeah. Yeah. He's so detached, right? He's not out of love. He's washing Sudama's feet. It's not like I'm the king, whatever, like he literally was the king, but he still did that. Yeah. Anything else? What other? There's so many examples. Which one?
To be with the most beautiful women in the world and then just walk away.
Yeah, where do we see that in history, right? Cleopatra and Mark Antony or whatever it was, all these great love stories of history, and then he's like, the most beautiful girl, and then he's like, your attitude's not quite pure bhakti, he just leaves, right? Thank you, that's an excellent example of renunciation. What about fame, wealth, knowledge or beauty? Haven't got those yet. Fame? Is in the heart of every living entity? Yeah. So how's that his fame? Yeah. But what does fame mean? How is that fame? Like everyone might have a relationship with him, but they just kind of keep it to themselves. Then that person wouldn't be famous. Like what's the famous aspect of that? You're right, but what is it? What does fame mean? Yasha.
Everyone knows that.
Everyone knows it, right? Yeah. Who's more famous than God? Elvis? Who said Elvis? Who was that? Was that you? No. Yes. Some say. Anyway, no, nobody's more famous than God, right? In every language, so all around the world, still today in Kali Yuga, still, who's more famous than God? Even somebody stubs their toe. Oh God! Immediately. Something else? Yep. Yep. Wealth. Yep.
It has to be well.
So he needed a lot of wealth to maintain, to keep that many wives happy. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Incredible. Yes. 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 Yeah, thank you. That's an excellent one. You had? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yep. Where's that in Bhagavad Gita? Where does that talked about in Bhagavad Gita? Does anybody know?
I am knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness.
That's there too. Yeah, I was thinking of an example, like when Arjuna says,
I can remember all my,
Yes.
but you cannot, oh Arjuna.
yeah, he talks about the sun god, and Arjuna's like, well, what do you mean? Like that was like 20 million years ago, and you're only like 120 or something. Yeah, so he can remember all those lives, but we cannot. Yeah. Yep.
I was thinking
Yeah.
beauty, everyone's captivated by Cupid in this world, but
Yes.
Krishna is famous as Madan Mohan, the enchanter of
Yes.
not just one Cupid, but millions of Cupids.
Yeah.
And his
Kandara
consort is even more attractive. She's attracting the attractor of millions of
Cupid.
Cupids.
Gandharpa Kamaniya Vishesha Shama. Yeah. Yeah, that's very nice. Wow. Thank you. What else? We've covered them all, but is there more examples? Yeah. 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 His beauty is so much that the movable things in Vrindavan stop moving, the rivers stop flowing, and the fixed things like the stones, they start to flow and move. So his beauty stuns people so much. Anything else? Yep. Yeah. 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 That's a really good point. Yeah. And not only is he not only is he detached, he doesn't force us, but at the same time, he makes such an effort to expand himself as individual super soul in all our hearts, while we're to facilitate us being away from him. Who does that? Right? We'll do this side, and then we'll go to Manji after that. Yep.
Wealth. He's the husband of the goddess of fortune.
Yes, he's the husband of the goddess of fortune. Yes. So everybody's worshipping Lakshmi in different ways, but yes. Yep. Yes. He knows everything, right? Not hard for him. I heard one time described by a devotee that it's not hard for Krishna to know everything because he is everywhere. Just like if we're in the kitchen and in the lounge room something else is happening, we can't see, we're not there. But because Krishna's God is everywhere, therefore he knows everything. Just effortlessly, because he's there. Yep. Yes, that's a good one. We can see his beating the deities, yes.
He also has that potency. I'm not sure where it fits in there, but while he knows everything, he knows what's going on in the heart of every living entity. When Mother Jasoda is chasing him, he's really scared.
Yes. Yeah. That's incredible. It's not a burden for him to know everything. He can also, by his energies, he can also allow his energies of Yogamaya to overcome him, that he forgets it for his pleasure. So that's like next level. You know, the guys in the office, everything done in there, and then the other guy's like, oh no, I just make one, say one sentence to my secretary and then it all goes on. That's a higher level of, so he's like that. He can actually take that position. Inconceivable? Has anyone got their head around this yet? No. We can't, right? He's inconceivable. Any last one before we move on? Qualities? Janava, you think one? No? All right, so the next part we're going to talk about Krishna as the source of all incarnations. There's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.28. Ete cha amsa kala pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Now, this is verse 28 as you can see, but aside from a couple of verses at the beginning, there's basically 25 verses just listing all the different incarnations from Prithu Maharaj to the four Kumaras to Varahadev, all of the different incarnations. And right at the end of that huge long list is given this verse that all of these incarnations are either direct portions of God or they're portions of empowered portions, Shakti Abhation, all different things. But Lord Sri Krishna, he's the original personality of Godhead. Right? So it's a very strong statement by Srimad Bhagavatam that the form of Krishna is the source. Now you might say, if all the forms of the Lord are eternal, how can we say that one came first? They're all ever existing. Yeah, they're all ever existing. So the way that Rupa Goswami explains this, why is Krishna deemed as the original form? Because he has the most qualities. Right? We just saw the six opulences. Now these are the 64 qualities of Krishna. And Krishna has qualities that other forms of God don't have. So we'll read through these. These are the qualities that can also be present in minute quantity in the jivas, in the living entities. So beautiful features of the entire body, marked with all auspicious characteristics, extremely pleasing, effulgent, strong, ever youthful, wonderful linguist, truthful, talks pleasingly, fluent, highly learned, highly intelligent, a genius, artistic, extremely clever, expert, grateful, firmly determined, an expert judge of time and circumstances, sees and speaks on the authority of the Vedas or scriptures, pure, self-controlled, steadfast, forbearing, forgiving, grave, self-satisfied, possessing equilibrium, magnanimous, religious, heroic, compassionate, respectful, gentle, liberal, shy, the protector of surrendered souls, happy, the well-wisher of devotees, controlled by love, all auspicious, most powerful, all famous, popular, partial to devotees, very attractive to all women, all worshipable, all opulent, all honorable, the supreme controller. These are the 50 qualities that are present in Sri Krishna, but can also be present in minute quantities in the jivas or devotees, especially devotees, not in non-devotees, but in devotees. People who are worshipping Krishna can have these qualities to a minute degree. There's 5 more qualities that can be partially manifested in the form of Lord Brahma or Shiva. They are changeless, all cognizant, ever fresh, Satchidananda, possessing an eternal blissful body, possessing all mystic perfections. So we know Lord Brahma lives, he does have a temporary life, but it's 3 trillion, whatever it is, 4 trillion, I don't know, some huge number. So he's, to our perspective, he's practically changeless, right? So these are partially manifested in Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Then we have 5 more qualities that are only manifest in the eternal forms of Vishnu, Lord Narayan. So these are, he has inconceivable potency. Uncountable universes generate from his body. He is the original source of all incarnations. He is the giver of salvation to the enemies whom he kills. He is the attractor of liberated souls. And now we come to the final 4 qualities that we only see in the person of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. And this is why he's considered the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He has all of these qualities. He is the performer of wonderful varieties of pastimes, especially his childhood pastimes. He is surrounded by devotees, endowed with wonderful love of Godhead. He can attract all living entities all over the universes by playing on his flute. He has a wonderful excellence of beauty that cannot be rivaled anywhere in creation. So this is the analysis given by Rupa Goswami of why Krishna is the supreme form. All the forms of the Lord are eternal, but Krishna has these qualities. If we go to the different Vaishnava Sampradayas, some of them will say, this is the supreme form. Lord Vishnu is the supreme form. And Krishna is just one incarnation of this supreme form, Supreme Lord Vishnu. You'll see that. Especially in South India, the temples are all Vishnu temples, right? We have in Sri Rangam and these different forms of Lord Vishnu. But Rupa Goswami, in following in the instructions of Lord Chaitanya, has pointed out that these qualities, these 4 qualities, are particular to Sri Krishna. All right. So, I'm going to just finish up by quickly mentioning something that sometimes I've been asked this question about this word surrender, and I thought it might be good to just quickly look at this, because this word comes up in this verse, prapadye. So we can see in this verse, Karma Muni is saying these 6 opulences of the Lord and saying, my Lord, because you have these opulences, therefore you're worthy of my surrender. I surrender to you. You are the one that is God. God is the one that has all these opulences. So sometimes it's questioned, like, what does this word mean, surrender? So this word prapadya is used many, many times, all through, and there's like 3 or 4 verses in Bhagavad Gita itself where this verse. If we look at the Sanskrit root of this, pad means to go or to step. The feet are called the padas, a step. And so prap means to go forward. So just to make the point quickly that this word prapadye, it's translated by the acharyas as surrender. And we see from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, they translated this word prapadye. It means surrender to the Lord. Also, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he uses this term, I surrender to God, surrender to God. But sometimes I've heard it asked to me that, does that mean we just kind of do nothing? We surrender, like when you surrender in the army or something, in the war. I surrender. But we can see from obviously the explanation of the acharyas, but also if we look in the Sanskrit, we can see the word prapadya is an active activity. Prapadya means to go forward, and padya means to go or step. To step forward, to move forward towards something. So prapadya is a positive activity. Going towards God, serving Him with our love, performing devotional service. And also prapadya is not on like a material level of surrendering to someone materially. That, okay, I surrender all my intelligence, I surrender everything to my boss at work. He says I have to do, all right, I just do that. It's not like that. It's actually an expression of one's own will. It's an expression of free will to surrender to a higher purpose, to a higher, to God, surrender to God. And because it's surrendering to God, it's not something limiting. It is actually the basis of freedom. actual freedom. At the moment, the conditioned soul, we're surrendered to the material world. We're the servant of the material world. We're the servant of our own senses, a servant of our material desires. This is becoming surrender to the spiritual reality. And Krishna says this many times in Gita, right? Mahatmanastamam parta devim prakritimashrita. The definition of success and higher levels of bhakti is when you take shelter of the supreme energy, Devi Prakriti, rather than the material energy. So this is being said here. And it actually gives independence and freedom. So some places where Srila Prabhupada uses this word and makes it very clear what the meaning of this prapadyate. The absolute truth is equal to everyone, but one will realize the absolute truth according to the way one approaches him. Yayata mam prapadyante. So here the same word prapade, meaning to surrender or approach. Prabhupada explicitly saying it's our activity. Surrender is not we do nothing. Surrender is an activity. We're approaching God. We're surrendering to Him. That's from Teachings of Queen Kunti. And then from a class in Atlanta in 1975, unless one is pious, he cannot approach God. So one should be pious and without any motive, not only pious, but pious is the first condition who can approach God. Otherwise he does not. So this is talking about this famous verse, Namam duskritino muta prapadante naradama. That if one is not pious, they cannot approach God. They cannot do this process of moving towards God. And in a lecture at Magamala in 1971, Srila Prabhupada said, we are simply being pulled up and down by our ear, by the Prakriti. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita it is said, real independence is Mameviye prapadyante mayamitam tarantite. That when one surrenders to Krishna, he overcomes this material energy. So if we want actual independence, if we want to get freedom from the laws of material nature, the only process is to understand Krishna. You simply try to concentrate your mind on Krishna and try to understand Krishna. Okay, so Prabhupada's bringing out the third aspect here of independence. That surrender doesn't mean we become blind followers of something. It is actually our real independence because we become surrendered to the unlimited. Right? Therefore, we become in connection with the unlimited. We come in connection with that existence beyond the modes of nature. Therefore, we actually attain our real freedom. There's one verse in the Bhagavatam, very beautiful verse. Say Mahimni said that when one gets free from the material world and is re-established in service to Krishna, he becomes established in his true glory, in independence. Svaya Mahimni, it means like his independence. So this is the process of surrender, and I hope that might help to give some food for thought about what this process is and what the acharyas are talking about when they use this word prapadye. All right, so thank you very much for coming today. Is there any question or comments on any of this? Of course, this is a lead up to Janmashtami festival on Saturday. Any question? Yep, Thomas?
Thank you very much for class, Deva Prabhu. You speak about the surrender to Krishna, and in the Bhagavad Gita it also says, he says he's the doer of everything, but he also says that we can never do nothing, so therefore take action.
Who said that?
It was in the Bhagavad Gita, like you can't.
Okay, yeah.
You know.
In a different section.
Yeah, a different section. So we're not the doer of the things, but it feels like we're the desirer of the things. So is that action, is that stepping towards the active desire to be of service?
That whole section is talking about the modes of material nature. We're not the doer, the modes of material nature are actually the doer. That verse is Prakriti Krimanani Gune Kamani Sarvasha Ahankara Vimudatma Kartahamiti Manite. So he's making the point there. This is he's talking about us in relation to the material energy in that verse, Prakriti Krimanani. The Prakriti does everything. Gune Kamani Sarvasha. Sarvasha means all The gunas are doing everything, right? And the ahankara, the false ego, is to think that we're doing that. Ahankara itiyame bina prakriti asara. We have to always see what he's talking about, what's the context of what and where he's applying it. So in there, he's talking about us as being conditioned souls, as like, I did this, I made this great company, blah, $1 billion company. It's like, yeah, but you're a minute spirit soul. You have the potency to desire, that's it. Somewhere or another, due to your past karma, due to the goodwill of other people, due to all these different 5 factors of action, you were able to make the company. But to say, I am that, I am this person, he says that's ahankara. Ahankara itiyame, I keep saying that verse, itiyame bina prakrita. Ahankara vimudatma. Vimuda, he says, you're very silly. Vimudatma karta aham. Karta means the doer, and aham, to think that you're the doer. So in that respect, he's saying, right? But then he always gives, right? Bhakti mam abhijanati yavanyas jasmi tatvata tato mam tatvato gyatva vishate tadanandram. He's saying only by bhakti can we enter into the spiritual world. So that is by the soul's own effort, by the soul's own decision, desire. Of course, it's only by the mercy of God. It's only by the mercy of the devotees. It's only bhakti can only be reawakened by the Guru Krishna Prasad Paya Bhakti Lita Beach. But that is where we actually are the doer, in that sense. When we turn to God, and that is really the thing that we can do. We can actually do of our own. Is that the question? How can we not the doer then, but then when it comes to bhakti, we are the doer?
Thank you.
Yeah. There's more there that I'll probably think of 5 minutes after this class finishes, but that's all right. Anything else? Any other question or anything? Okay. Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.